Hi, everybody. Just a quick question. Who's looking for work right now? Anyone? Okay, this is going to be very practical. For those of you who aren't looking for work right now, this will come in handy at some time in the future. So, I'm going to talk about disclosure. Duncan Colley is going to talk about accommodation. Teamwork Cooperative and Workbridge, we're in the Bears Road Shopping Center. And we're two agencies, which works really well to people's advantage. Teamwork Cooperative is a case management agency, which means people come in, and you're all students, so this might be not a value, but they would talk about training, maybe assessments if you're not quite sure what your disability is. Sometimes learning disabilities are extremely difficult to pinpoint. People sometimes need confidence building. Then they come to the second organization, which is the Workbridge, and that's when you are ready to start looking for work. I've been working as an employment facilitator and workshop facilitator for 2 years now, and it's great. We aim at having a very confidential, of course, but also a very comfortable and collegial atmosphere, and also we try to have fun, because looking for work is not always fun. In terms of disclosure, it's very important to start off by realizing that the choice to disclose is yours or not. I mean, you decide what you want to do. You are in a position of making that decision, and you are the one who's sort of in power and control of that decision. There's a lot of things to consider. I'm going to mention a very few. And one important one, which we always say at workshops, is it depends. This is the underlying fact. We do a lot of work with connecting with employers. Some of them are here. Melanie with the casino, Janice with HRM. We work with a lot of employers who are very, very welcoming to persons with disabilities. It's really nice to know who they are, and I can show you if they're here. They're interested in working with you. So, I think there's a number of things when you're looking at a job. The first thing is, can you do the job? You know that. If you're applying for a job, then you can do the job. Does the employer value diversity? Do you know that? Some employers value diversity more than others. Sometimes it's on the job description. If you're working with us, then we can say, yeah, they're really open. Maybe someone needs to grow a little more in it. Maybe you want to be the person that helps them grow, maybe you don't. So what do you know about the employer? And Sean mentioned this too. Research the employer. Try to get a sense of what's going on there. Again, that's one of the things I'm working on more and more, is working with employers and trying to see who really is open to this. In terms of a job search process, and this is again where it comes into really important for you to think about disclosing. There are a number of times in the job search process that you can disclose. It is up to you. Interview, of course, is a major time, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Think about the advantages and disadvantages of disclosing. We'll be here for a while, and we can talk more about it on an individual basis if you want. But don't forget that people cannot accommodate you if they do not know you have a disability. One thing I always say for people going into an interview is, do not assume that the person interviewing you does not have a disability. You do not know. The person who's interviewing you may have a disability themselves. They may have the same disability as you. So think of them as an ally, someone you can work with and come into it in a positive sense. The other thing which is really important is practice, practice, practice. I'm one of those people that until you get a job, you keep practicing. Interview questions, talking about your disability, you keep checking your resume. It's important to do this to help you get a job. It also keeps your energy up, you know. 2 of our staff are here to do resume critique at noon, Mark Muse and Tina Flindle. And I would encourage you, if you have your resume, to talk to them or someone else, because you always get ideas, you know. Of course, everybody has different ideas about resumes, so you got to kind of grain of salt on that. It is really important when you're going to an interview to remember that you are promoting what you can do. No one, whether they have a disability or not, goes into an interview saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. You're going in to say what you can do. You have a disability, but you have a person with abilities, and as Duncan will get into, you have possibilities. This is who you are. This is who you're going into with in an interview. We designed a workshop called Talking About Your Disability about 2 years ago, and we've been doing it, and it's been an incredible learning experience for the clients, but also for us as staff. And we've got a kind of a process worked out that we think is probably, well, I wouldn't say the best, but it's a really good way to approach interviews. The first is, again, remember, you're in control, you are an educator. And I think everyone with a disability is going to be in a position many times in their life where you are going to be educating people about your disability, whether you like it or not. You are an educator. And that gives you a real sense of power and a control over your life. Every time you talk to somebody, and one thing I have learned very, very quickly, is that no one is the same. You may have 5 people at a table with, I don't know, MS. No one is the same. So you need to be very clear about what your disability means. People who are talking to you in a job search process, let's focus on the interview, they may know about your disability. They may know what it means. They may have some very strange stereotypes about what it means. They may know nothing about your disability. It's up to you to explain it to them. I remember a while ago we had a number of people who were diagnosed with schizophrenia, and they were coming to the workshop. At the same time, CSI Miami was doing all these shows about how people with schizophrenia are like murderers, and the stereotypes were just phenomenal. So you need to keep this in mind. Make it easier for an employer to understand what you're talking about. Keep it clear and simple. I know it's difficult sometimes if the disability is new to you. That can be hard, but do your best to keep it clear and simple. So just in terms of the interview process, we've come up with what we call 3 fairly easy steps to talking about your disability in an interview. And it's easy when you get it done, but it takes a little work, and it's sometimes a little soul-searching to figure out what you're going to say. Step 1, name the disability if it affects your job. If you're 100% sure it's never going to affect your job, why mention it? Don't go into your life story. They don't want to know that yet. They may when they hire you, but not yet. Keep it really simple. If you have a disability that has a very long scientific name, you want to think about this. Is this what you want to say, or do you want to say something else? If you've got more than one disability, you may want to pick 1 or 2. And think about it. Remember what the person, somebody was smiling at that, but we have people who have a number of disabilities. Think about the ones that are going to affect the work most. If you have a rare disability, you may come up and say something, and the employer is going to So remember, with most adults, what they need you to do is for you to make it easy for them. A lot of adults are embarrassed if they don't understand it, so you tell them what they need to know. Step 2, and I'm going to say step 1, name your disability, is 1 sentence. Step 2, I sometimes give people 2 sentences. What does it mean in the workplace? Does it mean that you cannot lift? I'm going to say Northwood, the people need to be able to lift 50 pounds, and we can't find any way around that. If you can't lift even 10 pounds, maybe not the right employer for you. Does it mean that you need to be shown tasks? If you have certain learning disabilities, having someone tell you what to do is not going to work. Why not say, my preferred style of learning is to have someone show me how to do it and then watch me do it once. Everyone, whether they have a disability or not, has a preferred learning style. I personally do not read manuals unless it's a last resort. I mean, I have a phone that I haven't programmed yet for 4 months because I'm expecting it to come to me at any moment, right? And it hasn't. So This is something we have in common. Everybody has this. You can say to an employer, I learned best by doing this. I'm a great worker. Instead of saying, I can't do that. It's a different approach. How are you going to say it? Does it also mean maybe that you need to have a few quiet moments in the day? Is there something strange about that? Just saying, you know, at lunchtime I may go out for a walk because I need to have a few minutes to get my thoughts straight. I know we've had clients come in and say, you know, I'm worried because I need a break. I can't have lunch with my coworkers. And I say, well, maybe have lunch with them once a week, once a month, but get out and get, you know, clear your head. Finally, and this is the most important step, how do you manage your disability in the workplace? And I cannot stress enough that what an employer is looking for is someone who can do the job. Sometimes if you have a disability, you think that is the biggest thing that someone is going to see about you. It isn't. They're looking for someone who can do the job. They want to know how you're going to manage it. Be very clear again how you're going to manage it. Perhaps you want to say something like, I manage my disability by taking my medication on time. How's that going to affect an employer? Perhaps you're going to say, I need to stretch at work, or I do regular work exercise at home, and that's how I manage my disability. You want to hire somebody who does exercise and keeps themselves healthy? Yeah. You know? So think about how you're going to say this. There's all sorts of things. I was thinking about arthritis for some reason. I think because our boss has arthritis. But you may say, you may think, well, I can't walk stairs. Look at the workplace. If there's no stairs, why mention it? So really think about what the employer needs to know. What you need to tell the employer is what they need to know, and that's it. So this is much more complicated than I have talked about, but I wanted to just get started. And again, talk to some of the employers here if you're interested, and just sort of say, well, what's your approach? Everyone's a little different, but what I've given you is sort of the basics. The other thing which is really important is the whole idea about accommodations. And since I've been at the Teamwork and Workbridge for the last 2 years, I am absolutely astounded by the accommodations that are possible. And I'm going to get Duncan in just a second to come up and do his session. It is remarkable. And some of them are no cost. Some of them are very little to the employer. This is another thing when you go into an interview, you can say, I need this accommodation, and it's not going to cost you anything. Or I need this accommodation, and I already have it. So I'll pass it over to Duncan. Accommodations.